back to another video, and is this too far away? I feel like this is too far away. I think this is better. Maybe. So today I'm doing another ARC review, and I am reviewing Saving Eden by K.R.S. McIntyre. If I look tired, it's because I am. I've just gotten over being sick, and then today I had a whole Valentine's Day event. We went to high tea and then we did a whole bunch of stuff. So if this video ends up uploading on Monday instead of Sunday, mind your business. On to this review. So, Saving Eden was sent to me as a free ARC. ARCs are free, in exchange for an honest review. Now, disclaimer, this is fantasy / sci-fi, which is right up my alley, but it is young adult, and I don't write or read young adult usually. So if I happen to say anything that's kind of off to those of you, I know there are many of you who read and write YA, you're just like, take it with a grain of salt. So this book is about a girl named Angela who, actually let me just read the back because the person who wrote the book is better at a synopsis than I would be at coming up with one off the top of my head. So 16-year-old Angela and her father are the last survivors on Earth. She dreams of adventure and romance, but only finds it in books. In the confines of her garden paradise, she's untouched by contaminants that cause the rest of humanity to mutate into murderous beasts or die. But staying in the garden sure gets lonely. When the 17-year-old boy stumbles upon Angela's home with news about a thriving community, his presence upheavals everything she knew about the world. She dares to leave her garden for the first time to find a better home. In the authoritarian society that she finds in the line between man and mutant, In the authoritarian society that she finds, the line between man and mutant is murkier than she expected. Her father is in danger, and the men tasked with protecting the settlement are extremely fond of murder. With their lives on the line, can Angela create one last happy ending in a hopeless world? Fans of dystopian societies, post-apocalyptic futures, diverse characters, fantasy, and coming-of-age adventures will fall in love with this post-apocalyptic fairy tale. Damn, I need to get on this level of writing synopses. So, the beginning is immediately intriguing. The world building feels natural. Everything sort of unfurls naturally in the beginning, and I think it's quite well done. Even within just like the first 4 pages, with her, sneaking around, seeing the world, well, this very small world so far, through Angela's eyes, produces intrigue within the reader. So that's done very well. And then by the end of the first chapter, I'm ready for whatever adventure Angela is about to embark on. I was excited with her. So the 17-year-old boy that is mentioned in the synopsis, Jesse. So you run into him really early on. So the fact that he is in this by name is not really a spoiler, but See, Angela's really naive, so I can buy the fact that, she would be curious about this other person. But there are some things that Angela does throughout the novel that I think are kind of questionable. For example, she's only ever known her father, so it makes sense that she's never touched another human being. And when Jesse needs help, she's hesitant to touch him, because he's another person, a person she's never seen before. Kind of like, like she's Rapunzel and she's seeing someone other than her mother, that kind of deal. But pretty shortly after that, she has no problem, like, snuggling up to him for warmth. There wasn't even any hesitation. So there are just instances like that where I'm not really sure, where Angela does things that don't always make sense with her background, with the whole naive, sheltered, I've only ever known my father my whole life kind of thing. On the flip side of that, there are some things that were done really well in regards to her, not knowing what things are. So she reads a lot, her dad reads a lot, and she would see pictures from old newspapers, so she would recognize things like a guitar, but she never knew what it sounded like. She, I think she kind of knew about cars, but she had never seen one in person, and she was like, how is this thing moving? That was really cute, I thought. But on to Jesse. So, in my opinion, Jesse is immediately suspicious. I'm not saying you as another reader need to be suspicious of him, but I'm saying that he was a little too eager to take Angela away from her comfortable life, from her home, knowing that, it was dangerous and that she was defenseless and she had no shoes. Yes, once you read the book, it'll make sense as to why she doesn't have shoes, but she doesn't have shoes. They're going to be traveling on foot for 2 weeks. And he says to her, well, if you're going to come along, that's going to be really painful. But he doesn't really seem to, he recognizes that that'll be painful for her, but his attitude is very much like, oh, well, and then, he is a bit pushy about how he feels at times. So there are some things I like about Jesse and some things that I don't, but honestly, I always feel pretty wishy-washy about male and female relationships in young adult novels. So. But while we're on the topic of Jesse and Angela, another thing that I really appreciated is the diversity, the diverse cast. And it does say in the synopsis as well, people who like diverse casts. So it's not very often that you see in lead roles Black women or Asian men, or in this case, Angela is mixed. So I kind of appreciated that. Usually, if there is a Black person in a novel, it's a man, and usually if there is an Asian person in a novel, which that doesn't happen often, but the character is usually female, and they're typically not in lead roles at all. So I very much appreciated that, and you don't always see characters who are of mixed race as well. And you don't ever see that addressed. I think it's addressed really well in this book. And there's a whole colorful cast of characters, which I honestly really like because the world is colorful. And this is also post-apocalyptic, so all of these ragtag people are coming together. They're gonna look a little bit like a rainbow, and I really appreciate that that shines through in this novel. You meet all kinds of people, and my phone ran out of memory and I lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about how I was loving how diverse the cast is. That said, some of the dialogue was stiff, some of the interactions seemed a bit forced. So, while I do think that the beginning was well done, I do think that the ending was rushed. So like, creeping up toward the climax, and then the climax, and then creeping back down. I think all of that happens too fast as far as pacing. And at the beginning you get this really nice natural world building, but then at the end you get more questions about the world than answers, which you could attribute some of that to the fact that there's a book that is coming after this. But we run right by it, is what I'm saying. There isn't very much description, even though it's an intriguing part of the world that we're put into, and I would have liked to know a little bit more about it, what it looks like, how it works. It also, I think, would have helped with the pacing a bit more, because like, things happen out of nowhere and people come out of nowhere, and I think if we were more grounded in that space, I think that would have helped. But if the characters return there in the second book, I think that would be a great opportunity to sort of explore what that region of this world is like. Okay, so I was just looking over my notes and I forgot something else that I really liked. So I know I said that, I'm pretty iffy on young adult romances, but something that I think was done really, really well was consent. So, most especially, like if you watch Jenna Moreci, which I don't know which video it was, but she always says, consent has to be a thing, because that's true in fiction and in real life, but it doesn't always have to look like, hello, yes, I would like to kiss you now. Like when people hear the word consent, I think that's what they think, but consent can be like, it can be sexy, it can be cute, it's a form of communication, and communication can take many forms as long as it's clear to both parties. And the way that it's done is, I think, really natural and cute, and I just wanted to draw attention to that, because that doesn't always happen. I think a lot of people, they get really excited about writing this romance, and these characters are supposed to end up together, so no matter what happens, they're going to be together, and things happen and I'm just like, that's a little iffy, like that's kind of creepy. But that was not the case with Saving Eden. So, when I saw that, clear consent happen and it was natural and it was adorable, I was like, I like that. And it was simple. That was really well done and I liked it. And I mean, I guess it's kind of a small thing, but it's a big thing. Like, we need to be doing this in fiction, and I really liked it, so I'm gonna gush about it. I do have more notes, but they're more specific and very spoilery, so if you would like me to go more in depth about Saving Eden, I can. So, likes and subscribes help me out quite a lot. Thank you so much for joining me for this video of me doing an arc review, and I will see you guys hopefully next time. Bye! Super ninja shout out to LCT-Comics and Casian Holly, because they are in the unicorn tier of my Patreon, and when you are in the unicorn tier, I say your name in a video, give you a shout out.